All right, there we go. Welcome back to another True Crime Friday. Tonight, we're going to discuss a bit of a deeper part of the case. And when I say deeper, I mean that in the form of depth. Because this case, I haven't heard really anybody speak about depth on this yet. You know, the inside of the lake, what that looked like. I've spoken with some people that have said, well, there wasn't much of an angle. Well, I could actually disagree. But there's a few things about Prosser Creek Reservoir that we do need to discuss. Obviously, it looks like it is a lot more receded, to put it in a decent term, I suppose. There's not as much water in it as there typically is. At least it appears that way based from the depth maps. Hey, how's it going, Rick? When it comes to this case, everybody is focusing, on was she murdered or not? Is the police narrative right? Is Sammy Smith telling the truth or not? Things like this. Nobody's really questioned the whole, they said it was 14 feet down. That's how deep the vehicle was. It had flipped over or rolled over, depending on where you read. And then there's the other part that is saying it was 55 feet from the shore. I'm going to go over it tonight, and you guys are going to see that this is a little peculiar. Where did they measure from? That's what I'm curious about. They say the shore, but look at the maps. Did they measure directly from the sand? Or did they just kind of Google Maps it? Did they just kind of use some kind of like laser measuring tool? I don't know. And that's the part that's a little weird, because when you consider 55 feet from the shore, that's where things are going to get a little odd. I'll show you guys when we get into Google Maps what 55 feet looks like from the shore. The vehicle doesn't appear to be 55 feet. Actually, it looks like it probably is a little bit more than that. So let's get right into it. So first off, what I'd like to go and show is this is Google Maps right here showing this, right? You guys can see very clearly this is Prosser Creek Dam, right? The reservoir is right here. Here's the Prosser family campground. Now here's the part I want to show off. This is a little interesting. You're going to see right here there's a bunch of sand. Right along in here, there should be a bunch of sand. If my computer will load. Yeah, so you can see it right here. On the map, you can see that it goes right along here, and then right along through here. And that's where it shows that's where the water goes up to. It also shows it right here, and then it continues on in here. And you can see that just based on the way this looks, it does look like that's quite true. So it does look like it's receded back a little bit. Going through drought, California typically does. This is getting closer to Oregon, which is not really dealing with the drought, from what I can see. But the thing is, if you were to go in here, and you go really scroll in there, her vehicle is right over here. Now, that's my question. Did they measure from here, the road, or did they measure from the shore? So if you look from the shore, it's right here. It's not very far off. Now, I'm going to go and show this in just a second. We're going to get right back into... There we go. And I'm going to show you guys the measurement here. This part is a little interesting. Now, we're not going to be able to go into satellite, and that's fine. Don't really need to. We know we're going a little bit of distance away from where that landmass shows. You'll see that it's a little more than 55. That's the part that's got me a little intrigued here, considering if you look at the depth map, which I'll bring that up first while that's loading. Okay, now this is the Fisher map, or it's usa.fishermap.org. You can get the depth map of Prosser Creek Reservoir, California. And you can see there's a bunch of numbers here. You'll see right down here that shows feet. This is what this is all gauged by. 1, 2, 4, all this. You can see how many feet it goes down. So you can actually graph it and see, okay, well, how far down is this going? You get to see pretty quick that this dip's quick. Now, the part I also want to show off is you look around the shoreline. There's different heights along here. So right here, this is very steep. This is more of a kind of a gradual. You can see where it just severely drops. You'll also note that there's some parts here where it looks like it was cut, like it was quadrants. Which, I mean, that's going to happen. Different programs do different things. But no, this is the fork right here. And she went off this way, allegedly. Well, the thing is, the road goes off this way. Her car was down here. Which means she had to have basically gone like this and then maybe veered off. And she had to have been traveling, I would say, a pretty good, pretty decent speed, all things considered. But let's get right into this right here, which should be up, and it's still not. Try refreshing. Oh, there it goes. There we go. So this is approximately where her car was. The shoreline is somewhere like right around here. So I'll show you guys. Because I don't have, actually, hang on. Let's see if I can go and get those to go. Even better, don't need the layer. Delete that real quick. Yes, don't need that layer. We're going to go to the base map. We're going to switch this over to satellite. You guys will really get to see this now, because then I can adjust this a little further. I forgot about the satellite mode they have on here. Okay. It's actually a little bit farther out. So we're going to... move it. Her car was somewhere right around here. Okay, we're going to zoom in a little bit, if we can. Because her car wasn't far off the shore, and we know this because we can actually see it from the news broadcast. And that's the part that really struck me, is it shows it that it's not even far off. Now, if you compare that with the depth map, now don't worry, I've got something I'm going to show you guys here in a second. You guys can see what I'm talking about here. You'll see that this is not 55 feet. I'll show you. So, if we consider from shoreline, we'll give it benefit of the doubt here. So it's give or take about 100 feet. We can go a little bit farther in. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is over 55 feet. And you can see how small things are here. So we're going to go and zoom in a little bit more. There we go. So your car was not far off. So we'll go and say right here. See, so it's not quite the 55 feet. But you look at 55 feet in. We're just going to say this is 66 feet. Okay, you look at that. And I want you guys to take a look at this. This is 66 feet, right? Oops. There we go. So you can see here, this is where Kiely was at. You can see where the party was allegedly at. There's two different stories on this that I've heard. There's the party here, and there's the party here. Allegedly, there was cars parked right over here. And then Kiely just... And you can see she's traveling pretty quick. Now, that's the thing. We do need to go and get that as well, because if we know how fast she was moving, you can actually see how easily her vehicle was able to make it. This is also on a decline. It wasn't a very steep decline, but the thing is now, we can get measurements off this. We can get distance from one side of the lake to the other, and then we can go and approximate, okay, well, how many layers do we got, and roughly are they about the same? We can go and get this into measuring on a screen and then get it converted over to how many feet she had to travel and how fast you need to go to actually be able to get to that point. Keep in mind, it's water, it's going to go and pull a little bit. There is a little bit of a, what's it called? A little bit of a current in there that's going to be able to pull. Now, it'll be slow, but keep in mind it's going to be 30 to about 120 seconds or so before the car actually sinks. Now, that depends on a few things. Were the doors open at all? If they're open, now that's going to increase the amount of time it's going to start sinking. Typically, you open a vehicle, water starts flooding in, it's going to go and start sinking immediately. If it gets in through, let's say it hits hard enough that the front end is in the water, and let's say a window is down, right? That can also help sink it. So now we've got some more variables to go and consider. Like I said, nobody's really discussed this part. Because how long did it take for the vehicle to sink? Now, you can get an approximation, and it's going to be about, I think, give or take about a minute or so, which would allude to the vehicle will just kind of, bam, hit the water and then sat there for a little bit. Based on the weight, it sank accordingly, basically. I think there's more to it, though. I firmly do. Because it depends on the car hit. It also depends on how fast the car was going. And then we got to be able to go and check that footage. And that's what we're going to be doing next week, of course. I don't have a whole lot of time to discuss really much tonight because everything else I'm looking at, I don't have a solid amount of stuff on. But we're going to go over this. Just bear with me here. We still have more to go and cover. So if you consider how far she went, just to kind of show you guys, it's about 50 feet depth. Now they're saying it's 14 feet. That's what she was actually under by. The thing is, I think she was actually under far less than that. Consider this. It depends on where you're looking at on the depth, but you can even see right along here with the depth, you're looking at about 51 feet. 50 to 51 feet or so. Water depth here, right? And you can see that it's slight decline. There's areas where it drops off much faster, and there's areas where it doesn't drop off that fast at all. Okay, but also consider, now there's some parts about this depth map that are a little interesting here. Take a look at the 61 inches over here. I'll show this off again on map 1. 61 inches or so, or feet, not inches, but feet. That's where this is at. So, if that's dry, that doesn't really make sense for the water. However, this is the exact matchup, really, where this is all at. If you were to shrink this down, the roads don't match. There's a lot that goes into this, which means it's whose map is wrong. Well, this is where the map lines up perfectly along the shoreline. So assuming this was full, this is where they would basically meet. There's, like I said, there's some problems with this, and nobody's discussing this at all. That's a problem. Because can we believe the police narrative? We already know it's wrong. So why should we trust it any further when it comes to the depth? Now, who says it was 14 feet down? Was that Adventures with Purpose? If it was, then, well, can we go and cross-examine that and actually take a look and see, is this true? Can we take this apart? And I do believe we can. I don't think it was 14 feet down. I firmly don't believe that. 55 feet offshore, it was farther than that. And even if you look at this one, it could even potentially be into 100 feet away from the shore. You look at the footage, though, and it shows that it was actually far less than that. It looks... you can go and basically get a measurement of the person, and then you can go and measure, and then, of course, you have to go and go out for... what's it called? It's totally slipped my mind. Me, an artist, that part still slipped my mind. But it's basically when you get under the horizon, you start going closer and closer to the horizon. Farther out it actually could be, because now the distance is going to change. There is mathematical equations for this, and like I said, these are things you can break down. This case is actually there's a lot going on with very, very little to go off of. Like I said, but there's the decomp. We don't have a whole lot on that. We know that basically what the police said was that's most likely just primarily, well, I don't want to say the police. The toxicology report said the ethanol was most likely all just entirely from decomposition. So was she drinking? No, because her body couldn't metabolize it all. You got to look at the stomach contents. What does that mean? You got to look at, I mean, there's everything you got to go and look at. There's so much. The body couldn't metabolize fast enough. She was literally like, if she was drinking, her body wasn't going to be able to metabolize it most likely very fast. Doesn't appear that she was drinking. It does appear that there was a little bit of nicotine and things like that in her system. So could she have been smoking, or could she have just gotten secondhand smoke? Easily could have just been secondhand smoke. There wasn't a whole lot of nicotine in there either. But that's my point, is they were trying to go and prove that she was just a drunk teenager, you know, but that's not really the case here. She wasn't drunk. So if she wasn't drunk, then how did this happen? Was this she accidentally turned this way? Was it maybe these people that were parked over in this area, or in this area over here? Did that spook her? Did she fear something? What was going on? I think that there's a lot more there than there is throughout the entirety of the narrative and what the friends are saying. I believe there's a lot more. But for those that are interested, if you guys are able to get the exact quotes and things like this that her friends and family had said concerning this case about the party and all this, please send them to the Strange Investigator. You can message me on the Strange Investigations page on Facebook, or the Crowworks Entertainment page on Facebook. You can leave comments with links, things like that. That would be very, very helpful, because that will be one of the next ones we're going to be going over, because we've already analyzed majority of the evidence and things don't really line up. Like I said, is this 14 feet off the shore? We've already proven it's much greater than that. Or not 14 feet, but 55 feet off the shore. We've already shown that it's greater than that. We can analyze and actually look that it's probably much greater than that. 14 feet of water, probably not. You could see it directly from the camera angle when the news had actually, the filming crew had actually shown up at the site. You could see it. So the question is, how much of this can we actually question? And even then, over time, that vehicle could actually go deeper and deeper in the lake. It's on a decline, so the current just has to hit it right. So that's the next thing we'd have to look at when it comes to this. How was it able to move? There's a lot going into that. So thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys